Hey everyone. Can everyone hear me? If you can send something in the chat, that would be awesome. Yep. Okay, sweet. Awesome. Let's wait for a minute or two, but today we're going to be building a real-time human pose estimator using ML5.js, and I'm super excited for that. This is a really fun workshop, and I think you'll really be happy with the results after. But as we wait for people to come in, can we have one word to summarize your day in the chat? So my one word would be stressful because very busy when it comes to school and things like that. Um, I go to the University of Michigan, and really love what the Hacklytics team is doing in terms of creating a datathon, which is something you don't see nowadays. Yeah, and I think it's growing in popularity, which is great. So just to start off, like my name is Samay. I am a sophomore studying computer science at the University of Michigan. We have two awesome workshop helpers that will help assist you doing the chat. Um, their names are Patrick and Atul. So like Patrick just sent something, he's busy in the chat. We also have Atul, and we are more than happy to help you during this session if you have any questions whatsoever. But cool, I want to wait like 2 minutes more before we get started. So I want to see more one words about how your day went. So feel free to send it in the chat. I said stressful. Kirash said long. Patrick said busy. Pratik said just woke up. Let's send a couple more. Productive. Let's go. That's awesome. Anything else? Productive. Yes, that's great. Fun. Why was it fun? Anything fun that happened? I'm always curious whenever someone says things like that. Because productive, I know like, they probably just did work, but hackathon is fun though. Okay, yeah, of course, that is true. That is very true. Cool. So let's start. So we're going to be using ML5.js, and ML5.js is a JavaScript library for creating and exploring artificial intelligence within the browser itself. So you may be very familiar with machine learning when it comes to using Python, but you probably didn't know that you can actually use JavaScript as well. So we're going to be using the PoseNet model, and the PoseNet is a machine learning model that allows for real-time human pose estimation. So what we want to essentially build is an algorithm that takes in webcam input from our computer, and an algorithm that can structure and detect all the different joints of my body, and basically put a little dot on each joint. And that's how we can create a really cool PoseNet-based app. I'll show you an image when I share my screen in just a second. But the whole idea is that there's a pre-trained model that ML5.js has. It's called PoseNet, and that will allow us to do just that. So I'm going to go ahead and start to share my screen so that you can see what I'm talking about. Just leave it for a second. Share screen. Screen one. Awesome. So we have like that. But before we start, would love to show you a quick example. So this is what we're going to be building. We're going to be building an app that basically takes in webcam or camera input and maps out all the different joints of the human body. So to get started, let me go ahead and send everyone the link to the starter replit. So this is the starter replit. It just has imported like all the libraries that we need. So everyone click on the link that I just sent in the chat, and then head over. And then once you're on this link that I sent in the chat, click on my name and the name of the replit, so intro to ML, and then click on fork. So if you click fork, it will automatically create a copy of the code that I have right here, the starter. And if you don't have a real account, don't worry, it'll ask you to create one and it'll take you back to where you were. So take to fork this replit on your local machine or on your machine. And replit is awesome because it's a cloud IDE, and that will allow us to develop software and test code and actually run our code on the cloud. And since we're using JavaScript, it's really cool because we're going to be using all web technologies to build this. So I'm going to wait for a second so that everyone can get going. Let me move this tab to my second monitor, so then it's not there. And we can go ahead and get started in just a sec. So can everyone send the word ready in the chat once you are ready? I just want to make sure everyone is ready before we move on. Basically, you should just have a replit with your own name. Okay, awesome. You're under your own account on the top left. Great, let's get started. So you guys might be familiar with web technologies, but if you're not familiar with web technologies, we have 3 files here: an HTML file, a JavaScript file, and a CSS file. So in the HTML file, we have hypertext markup language. That's what HTML stands for, and it has all the markup for our application. In the JavaScript file, we're going to be actually doing most of our work and actually writing the functions and bringing in the PoseNet library. And then our style.css file is where we can style things. But we probably won't do much styling because we're just going to be doing most of our work in script.js. So as you see here, the starter code is very boilerplate and templated. It's very standard. But we do have 3 scripts here. One script is npm to install the p5 library. This is like a graphics library that makes it really easy to do graphics on the web. Then we have another CDN that includes the P5 sound library. It's just an add-on that we can use to make it easier when we build things. And we have the ML5.js library. So these are the imports that we have for our application. Now I'm going to hop into script.js and let's go ahead and actually get started building this. It's going to be a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and think about how we want to go about this. So I think, in terms of creating this, we want to create a canvas. And when I say create a canvas, there's within p5.js, which is the graphics library, we can actually create a canvas that will allow us to display the webcam output, and then we can work on top of it. So let's define a few variables. So I'm going to do let video, let PoseNet, and let pose. These are just a few global variables that we'll keep here, just to this is a framework for us, and then we can always move them around as needed, but I think we'll be using them across the whole file. So it probably just makes sense to establish them globally for now. Now we can create a function to set up our code. So I'll go ahead and run function setup. So the setup function automatically gets called by p5.js. That's something that you should remember, because if you notice that we won't really be calling this function. And if anyone is curious, let me go ahead and send the link to p5.js so that you can take a look if you're interested. So this is the p5.js library that we're using for creating graphic and interactive experiences, and I'll send the ml5.js link as well, which is the machine learning library that we'll be using. Cool, so let's resume. If you have any questions in the chat, please send them so that Patrick or Atul can get to them as soon as possible. They know web development, they know all the libraries that we're going to be using, and even if they don't know, they will get you an answer. So if you have any questions, please send them in the chat. So let's go ahead and continue. So we're going to create a function setup. And the setup function is automatically called by p5.js. So within here, we can use the create canvas function within p5.js as well. And let's do it. We don't want to make it too big because then the video will be too big and it'll make our computer really slow. So let's just do like 650 by 480. Let's keep that. Let's see what happens now. I don't think anything should happen. It should just have like a canvas. If you open this in a new tab by clicking here, you should have it should say loading and then a blank screen, which is completely fine. Cool. By the way, you can open it in a new tab by clicking here. Also, I highly recommend you have Hopin on one screen, on the side of your screen, and your Replit or browser tab on the right side of the screen, so you can directly follow along. I'm also going to zoom in to see if this is good for you as we start coding. Cool. So now we created our canvas. What we can do now is also start to define our video. So we defined a variable here, video. I'll do video equals create capture, and then video in all caps. So what this will do is tell p5.js that we want to capture the video. It's just basically a really useful function for us to take the webcam input and actually stream it into this variable. So I'll do video.hide now. It's just something that we do to make sure like the video displays properly. It's within the p5 docs. And then what we'd want to do is start to work on PoseNet. So we define this variable here called PoseNet. And I think what we can do is we don't actually need to define this variably, globally. So I'm just going to move this here, and I'm going to do let PoseNet equals ml5.poseNet, and then I'll pass in two parameters to this function: video and model loaded. Okay, cool. So what we just did right here is let me recap everything. But specifically for PoseNet, what we did is we defined a variable called PoseNet, and we set it equal to one second, please. Sorry. We defined a variable called PoseNet, and we set it equal to a member function of the ML5 library. And the ML5 library has this function called PoseNet, and PoseNet is like the model that it has. And we're basically saying let PoseNet equals ml5.poseNet video model loaded. And video is the variable that we just described right here. And then model loaded is a function that we are going to define in just a second. So let's go ahead and actually define that function, right? So I'm going to go underneath here, and I'm going to write a function model loaded. And then I'm going to console.log model has loaded. All right, so let's go ahead and see what happens. I'm going to go click on the run, and let's see what happens. DOM exception. So let's see what this looks like in a new tab. We might have an error, but this is the process of development, so it's always good to see what's up. Refresh the page. Okay, we just got this. You can ignore these warnings. This is just for that. But I think I saw model is loaded. Okay. Just give it a second. I think model has loaded in your console. So, sorry, my computer's being a little bit slow. But has the model loaded for anybody? Can someone? It showed for a quick second, and I think it went away. Mysterious, but I think you got the DOM exception. Okay, how about in the developer tools of your console? Let me check this real quick. Okay, let PoseNet. Yours is loaded. Anyone else? What's it loaded for? Okay, that's really weird. Let me look into this further. So, taking a look at this, let me see. Is there a specific reason why this is not working? We have model loaded. We said PoseNet equals ml5.poseNet video model loaded. Let's see. All right, give me a quick second. I wonder what this DOM exception is. Maybe I have a permissions issue. Yeah, I think it is something to do with that. If you click on this, okay, this is what it is. So you need to click continue allowing to access your camera. So click on this, and then if you just wait, I will. So you need to give it permission. And once you give it permission, it should say model is loaded, I'm pretty sure. See, model is loaded right here. Awesome. So that was the error. If you're in Chrome, click on this icon right here and click continue allowing and then click done. And then you should be good to go. Sweet. Let's move on. Atul and Patrick can answer any specific questions that you have, but just make sure you allow access to it, and you should get you should get Modellets loaded. Yeah. So let's see if we move on. Your issue should be resolved after we actually draw the video. But if you run into more issues, let us know. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna draw the video webcam. So I'm gonna do the function draw. So draw is another function that's automatically called by p5.js on load. So function draw, and I'm gonna do image. There's a function I'll call pass video as the what is it called, as a parameter, and then this is 0, 0 as the next two parameters. And if you run this and open it in a new tab, let's see what happens. So our camera should turn on, and I believe a video should show up. Yeah, so there's a video of me. Just waiting for this to load. As we are on Hopin, it's a little slower when you're sharing on the screen, but yeah, so there is a video. It's not cropped exactly right, which is weird, but we will fix that in a little bit. So now that we have a video, I just want to make sure everyone has a webcam feed of themselves. Can everyone send the word webcam in the chat? Cool. Awesome. That's a good point. Yeah, it's because of 600 by 480. We should create a better canvas for that. I will figure out the right one that will keep everything in the frame in just a second. So cool. Now that we got this, everyone is on the same page. We have webcam footage. Let's move on. So we loaded the model. We got webcam footage. The next step is actually tracking our poses. So in terms of tracking our poses, what we want to do is we want to create a function that will allow us to take in a frame, and when it takes a camera frame, we want it to classify that frame and return with different key points that we can visualize. So taking a look at this, we can look into creating a new function that will get called every time we detect a pose. So that's why we can do poseNet.on. This is an on event listener, so we're listening for a certain event. The event that we're going to listen for is a pose event, and we want to call the function got poses. Now we're going to define that function got poses. So let's go ahead and do this. So function got poses, pass in poses because it's an implicit parameter. Because whenever you have an event listener, remember that there's an implicit variable passed into its function that's being called, because that's the data of the event that just got taken place. And let's do console.log this. Cool. So let's try this out. I'm going to run this and then open it in a new tab. And now I'm going to check my console. Computer's freezing. And now click on console. And you can see there are real-time detections going on right now. So almost every second, it is printing out a new pose. And if you click on this array and click on this, you should see that there's a pose, and you actually have key points for every single, body part or joint, which is really cool to see, and it has a confidence. So it's like 0% accurate that sees my right wrist, which is true because my right wrist isn't in the frame. But if I do move it to a frame, the confidence would increase. I'm going to look at this in just a sec in more detail. But for now, let's go back and start to continue working on this. So what we want to do is we got our poses, the model is loaded, we got the webcam, we got the poses. So I think it makes sense to just get the first pose. We don't want all the poses. We just want like the first pose per X frames. So I'll just do something like pose. Or we can do like if poses.length is greater than 0. If we have more than one pose, let's just return the first one. So pose equals poses of the first index at 0 dot pose. So this is the pose variable up here. So what we're doing is if we have multiple poses, we're going to take the first pose. Cool. So now we got the first pose. The next step is to draw everything. But before we draw everything, I want to take a look at the data structure once again. So in terms of the data structure, what we will find out is it's actually really well put together, because there is, as you saw before, there was a bunch of different joints. We had the confidence, and we had the actual X and Y coordinate. Before we go into that, I want to see if we change this. If we change this to 480 by 360, does it look better? I just want to see if the resolution and we get the full thing. Let's see. Because they must have updated the library or something, because before it automatically scaled the resolution with respect to what the webcam had. But let me take a look in just a sec. Cool. So just waiting for this to show up. And then I actually forgot to console.log it again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do console.log pose, because I want to show you what the data structure looks like in depth. It could be because my all right. I think something wrong. Is this happening for everybody in terms of thing? Okay, I'm just gonna go inspect real quick. Check out the console. So right now I'm not in the frame, but if I am in the frame, let's see if we get the poses. We should get them. I don't know why we're not. Okay, it looks like it's not loading. Give me a sec, because Hopin is just, you know how you said somebody just said Firefox isn't loading? Yeah, it's because my thing is really done. Oh, is that a potential fix to it? Okay, I will take a look at that. Thank you for that. So image.width, image.height, canvas.width, canvas.height. Okay. I will look at that in just a second. Let's just finish up the tutorial and we'll get back to it. Cool. So what we have here is we have the pose. And to move on, what we need to do is we want to create, we basically want to create the dots that will show up on the image. So let me just run this again. Want to make sure I get this in the console first. I think it might just be getting overwhelmed because of all the thing, because this should be console logging, because we are getting more than one pose, you know what I mean? Which is really, really weird. So if I do console log that poses here, so the reason you get DOM exception here, that makes a lot of sense, because Replit can't access your camera from this inside this small embed right here. That means you have to open it up in a new tab. But something that's really weird is why this is not loading, but I think it's just because the computer is under a lot of load. Maybe center on the create canvas would center your camera. Yeah, let's try that out. it's really weird because this change recently. So create canvas center is what you suggested. Let's try that. I don't think it would because this is a canvas thing. It might not be related to the camera. I think the camera is a separate setting, but we will look into that before. So now the canvas is in the center, but the camera hasn't changed. Yeah, but thanks for that. Let me go back to here and let's just continue because I know this works. I just think my computer is really overwhelmed by everything else. So let's continue. So let's go to draw. So if we have a pose, we want to actually draw it. So what I would love to do is first I want to maybe just draw something on my nose. So this is an RGB value, so fill RGB. So I'm going to do 255 as R because that's the max number in hex. So 25500, this will give me a reddish color. And then I'll just draw an ellipse. Pose.nose, pose.nose.x, pose.nose.y, and we give it a radius of 64. Now we should get a little dot on my nose. If I refresh this, there we go. We have a dot on my nose. Does everyone else have a dot on their nose? Just comment dot. Awesome. Glad. Wait for everyone. I'll pull up the code in time. Has found a fix for the camera, let me know. And we can do that because I think it changed. My camera won't appear on the canvas now. Okay, no worries. We'll help out. We'll help out after this workshop. We can help out in Discord or anywhere else. So don't worry. I'm going to continue just for the sake of time, and then we can help out. So we want to finish in the next, 5 to 6 minutes because we really have a special activity at the end of this. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to draw should we use an ellipse, right? To draw an object on our nose. We want to draw it on every single key point. So how are we going to do that? We can use a for loop, of course. So let's do something like this. For let I equal 0, I is less than pose dot key points dot length, and then I plus plus. We want to get the y coordinates and the x coordinates out of this. So let's do let x equals pose dot key points I dot position dot x. Now we got the x component. Let's get the y component too. Pose dot key points I dot position dot y. Now I got the y component. Let's make this blue. So 0, 255, 0, because it's RGB is the order. But it'll be green actually. I want to make it blue, so I'll do this. And lastly, we got to fill it up like an ellipse. So ellipse, let's do x, y. Let's make them slightly smaller at 16 for a radius, 16 pixels for a radius. If we run this, refresh the page. I'm just waiting for this page to refresh. We should have real-time human pose estimation. If I wasn't sharing my screen, this would be a lot more responsive. But there we go. If I go further, you should be able to see this better. So if I'm right here, you can see that it's tracking my eyes, the side of my face, my wrist even, which is really, really cool to see. I am all here. So just send something in the chat. Send it works in the chat if it works, and you should be good to go. I have a quick challenge though. So the challenge is, can you change the colors? So let's just change it to green. You should be able to change it. And see if you can draw lines in between, right? So the coolest part is you can actually draw lines in between these coordinates, and you can recreate a skeleton, which is really cool. You missed the last bit of code. I will just show it to you right now. You can also check out the code here. I just sent it in the Replit. But please send "it works" in the chat so I know it works for all of you guys. Just wanted to make sure. And then we can see if we can figure out and debug this camera issue. I'm not sure if other people have the camera issue, but I know I do. But at least we got something working, and we can always improve upon this. So some places to go from here is that a lot of people have used poses and combined it with, models to predict emotion, to, turn your face into an emoji. So people like are laughing, and it'll change it to a laughing emoji. So there's a lot of cool things that you can do with this to get a really interactive app. Suppose I want to create an app that I can move, move something. You can detect where your hand is using PoseNet, which is really, really cool. And in the future, it's going to drive more AR experiences and a lot of cool things. Do you think this can be run locally without the use of Replit? Of course, that's actually a great idea. Why don't I do this right now? So let me demo this right now. And we're going to try downloading this as a zip file and running this locally. So download this as a zip, opening it. And can everyone else say that it works, just to make sure? If it does work. Otherwise, if it doesn't work, please send your issue in the chat so that we can help you out. Awesome, that's great. We have a really cool, activity at the end of this for the next 5 to 10 minutes. So once this is expanded, you can really tell, if I wasn't sharing my screen, this would take just a second to load. But now it's taking really long because my computer is on overload. It's okay. If you download this as zip, you should be able to. So whoever asked that, just check it out. Awesome. I'm so glad it works for everybody. Now my next question is, does everyone have that webcam issue? And does anyone have the same webcam issue in terms of the offset? So now I just downloaded a zip and I opened index.html and it opened locally now. Let's see if it works. It should work. It's probably just, too much to handle. Nobody else has a webcam issue? Okay, that's good. Cool. Not allowed to local resource. Okay, you'll need to have a local server for this. So you can install something like npm iserve, and there's something called a local server. I can help you with that in Discord to show you how to run this locally. It shouldn't be that hard. It just requires 5 minutes of tinkering. Okay, cool. Now we're at the last part of this workshop. And the last part of this workshop is by far one of the funnest. I'm going to send a link in the chat. You don't get prompt for welcome. We'll take a look at it in just a second, Benjamin. We can hop in Discord and we can debug it. But the last thing that we want to do is share our creations. So I just sent a link in the chat. Go ahead and click that. Oh, that's actually the wrong one. Okay, 1 second. Cool. Yep, so it should be the right one. So go to this link. I will navigate it on my machine as well. And then what you can do is we're going to be sharing our creation. So open your Replit in a new tab and copy and paste your Replit. Type in your name and then your website URL. Just paste that in and click on submit. And that way we can share our submissions with everyone. So go ahead and do that so that we can share our submissions. We just sent the link. I'll send the link as well. You sent the right link. I sent the wrong link at the beginning, so that's my bad. Copy into your VS Code. Yeah, we'll take a look at it in just a second, and we will debug that. But feel free to share your submission. So Neha just shared her submission. I'm gonna check out hers. Right now, everyone should have the same, but like if you want to change something around, we would love to see that. So Neha has just asked to allow camera, and I want to see if this works. But keep the submissions coming in. So what we shared with you is this is a really cool website that will allow you to do incredible things. Patrick and Atul and I and Max, the director of Hacklytics, we all contribute to this website called Enlight. And there are dozens of projects and resources to help you. So we have beginner projects right here, such as building an image recognition web app, which is using the same ML5.js library. We have a cryptocurrency algorithm backtester project. There's sentiment analysis. There's a neural network that you can build, a web scraper, a stock prediction algorithm. So there's a bunch of projects that you can do based on your skill level. And then Atul actually put together a bunch of cool data sets and product ideas. So create President Twitter account, Twitter bot, a set of Trump, and they're really great. So I highly recommend you take a look at this. And then you can also join our Enlight Discord community by clicking here, enter chat. But definitely take a look at all these resources. They're here for you. And then lastly, we have a really cool opportunity. So all these projects right here are contributed by people with our members within our community, the Enlight community, and they get thousands of views. And we have a special opportunity so that after you're done with Hacklytics, we are encouraging you to submit your hackathon project to Enlight. So Enlight is basically a site where you can share your programming projects with the world. And when I say that, I mean literally all programming projects are here. We have projects in web development, data science. If I just open up the data science page, you'll get a better idea of what kind of projects we have. So we have, you take a look at the data science page right here in terms of projects, and then category data science, you'll see all the data science projects we have. And suppose you build an algorithm to classify Trump's tweets or recreate Trump's Twitter account. What you can actually do is write a tutorial for that and release it to the world. So think of Enlight as Medium, but specifically built for tutorials. And not only just regular tutorials, but tutorials that teach you how to build a certain project. So definitely check this out. And I think you will get a lot out of this resource, both if you contribute to it and also take a look at all the content. So that's really all we wanted to touch on. Please get your submission, and then we will be helping you right after. So workshops, Hacklytics. So let's see how many. We have 8 submissions. Let's get more of them in. Great, I'm gonna see who got it worked. There we have Eric, Sarah Ewan, Nikita, Avis, Chandu. Make sure you get your submission in so that we can have them and document it. And then in the future, definitely consider submitting your hackathon project to Enlight after, and also taking a look at all of these beginner and intermediate level projects and these data set and product ideas that you can use throughout the hackathon. And of course, as Atul said, we'll be there to help out at every step of the way. Does anyone have any questions? What do you press to submit? You just click on the submit button right here. So name and website URL, and it should be at the bottom. Any other questions we can help address? Send it in the chat and we will get to it right away. Cool. Let me go back to this. That was Neha's product, which is great. Would you recommend a specific browser? I think Chrome works well, but I think other browsers should work. Right? I'm just 100% know that Chrome works. So we got 12 submissions. let's bring that up to at least 20. Okay, we have 40 people in the call. At least half of us got it. Let's get this to 20 submissions, and it'll be great just for everyone to share, like, what they worked on, and would love to see how they built their product. And I'm sure you guys will want to build on top of this, maybe for your hackathon project or in the future. But cool. Any other questions that we can help with? Thank you so much for coming to this workshop. We're really excited to be with Hacklytics and Light, we are looking forward to working more with you. And feel free to send a message to us in Discord, the Q&A session. Otto, does it work? Can Otto come up here? I want to see if he can. And Patrick, feel free to request to come up here as well. Cool. Yeah, Otto, you want to talk a little bit about the Q&A session, about how we do
that? Q&A session, yeah. So we'll be there. We can ask any of your questions specific for this workshop or Enlight in general, contributing to Enlight, or just further data science resources if you're interested in something like that.
Awesome. Yeah, and like we'll just stick around for like 3 or 4 minutes in this, and then we'll move to the Q&A session. Is the Q&A session on Hopin or is it on Discord?
Pretty sure it's on Hopin. Max
okay, cool.
told me it was on Hopin.
Okay, cool. So we'll just hop on there in just a second. But I know this workshop goes till 8:15. So does anyone have any questions on the code itself? Anything that was confusing, anything that you want to do? So I want to explore the actual, code real quick. So I'm going to console log the pose. I just want to show you all the data that we have, that they've given us as a result of using PoseNet. Yes, where did we import those libraries? Check at the top of index.html. That was where we imported all the libraries. You look on, I just console log the pose, and I just want to show you what the pose looks like. Really quick. No. The Hopin thing takes a second to load. Okay, cool. Cool. Okay, so as you guys can see, look at my console right now. We have a pose coming in like every half a second, which is kind of insane and really cool, actually. So if you click on it, you have the score. So your score is the overall accuracy of all the points, the average accuracy. Right now, only half of my body is there. So we have like 0.37, like 37% accuracy, which is pretty bad, but that's because I only have half my body in the view. Then we have all the key points. So I click on the key points. We have everything in an array. So we have nose, left eye, right eye, right eye, left ear, right ear, literally everything. And we have the score, so like the accuracy, the confidence interval. And if you click on this, you have the exact X and Y coordinate position. So this is all the data that we used to build this. And if I come out of this and just go to any other score, you'll see that we have the key points and we also have everything else individually. So you can index by all the key points together, or you can index by, okay, I only specifically want the right eye, or I want the nose, or I want the ankle. So which is really cool to see. So I would love to hear like what you plan on building, but something you should do is some challenges to take this from here is to like connect the dots and make a skeleton, or build a game out of this, which would be a lot of fun, or apply it to your hack in any other way. Can we turn off generating for some of these body parts? Of course. So what you can do is you can either just generate specific body parts. So this is like nose. Then you can do an ellipse for like right ankle or whatever you'd like. Just replace nose over here. Or you can have a for loop and you can have an if statement. So if this does not equal right eye, or if this does not equal nose, then do it. Otherwise it won't do anything. So what you can do is like, if you want to turn off generating something, you can do if, have an if statement to check. So in here, I would do if pose.keypoints.I. I forgot what it's called, but I think it's called like, let me see what it's called right here. how can we connect the dots with lines, or how should we figure it out by ourselves? Yeah, I will send you a quick resource. There's a really cool tutorial to do that, so we'll send that. But it looks like if you click on key points here, key points part, so that part. So I can do if key points pose or key points at part does not equal nose, then do the following. So right now this will do everything except the nose, or you can even do like, you can just put anything over here. So that's how you do it. Facial recognition possible. So within PoseNet, there are no, but there are other facial recognition libraries. I would type in facial recognition ML5 on Google, and you should be able to find something. So facial recognition with ML5.js, you should be able to find something. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen because we're approaching. But how can we connect the dots by our? Yeah, I can send you a resource to do that right now. PoseNet ML5.js. There should be a with P5.js. There should be a really cool tutorial for that. Let me see if I can find it. But the whole idea is what you want to do is use P5.js to use P5.js to, what is it called, to like draw lines between each point. And you can actually use something called, I'll find the exact function. It's stroke. So what you would want to do is, we use ellipse. We can use line instead to draw a line from certain XY positions to another XY position. So I'm sending the link right now to show you the full. This is the workshop that I just showed you is based off of this link, which is an official P5.js example. What is PoseNet exactly? It is a model, not a library. Exactly. So PoseNet is a library that allows you to PoseNet is a machine learning library that is a part of ML5.js that is trained on thousands and thousands of data points. And these data points are examples of, like, they're different images, and they have X and Y coordinates for like each body part. So there are thousands and thousands of examples of that, and it uses what it's learned over those examples to predict where the body parts are on a new set of images. So that's how like machine learning generally works. And PoseNet is basically a pre-trained model with that has been trained thousands of times over thousands of different data sets and data points, I mean. And we basically have that model that we can use and implement it in our own project. Did I answer your question, Neha?
And just to clarify, before help you guys with this workshop and other Enlight-related data science questions in the Discord. The track Q&A is actually another session that is starting right now about the Georgia Tech Athletics track challenge. And yeah, you should definitely join that session right after this one.
Cool. Awesome. I guess on that note, thank you for coming. So, Atul, should they meet us in the track Q&A or the Discord? What do you think is the best?
For questions with this current workshop, you can meet us in the Discord. If you want to join the Georgia Tech track challenge,
Okay.
that Q&A is happening right now.
Cool. All right, guys, hop in the track challenge to learn more about that. If you have questions about this workshop, let's chat in Discord. But thank you for coming and really appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.